with Michael Steele, former Lieutenant Governor of Maryland and RNC Chair.
Yeah.
You have been a longtime friend of Principals First, so we thank you for that.
Oh, absolutely.
How was the energy in the ballroom today?
It was really, look, folks need to appreciate the idea of progress here, because I remember sitting in a room with Heath, and we were he first had the idea about bringing folks together.
Yeah.
And this concept of Principals First and and it was great. And so the very first gathering, I think there were like 500 people, maybe, if you took out the staff, right? Yeah. Over 2,000 today, this weekend, enormous amount of energy, enormous amount of focus, and the desire to actually get in the game and do something. I mean, these are folks who are already engaged in various ways at various levels in their own states, to now be a part of a broader community of Americans who are moving in the same direction, reestablishing and defining again those core principles of what has defined us as a country and made us strong in the past, and to, more importantly, be the resistance to a lot of what we see happening around the country right now, right there on the ground in places like Minnesota, for example, where we saw the American people stand up and say no. That's what Principals First sort of galvanizes, and that energy was in the room. It was exciting.
So you mentioned the topic of progress really quickly, and I think that's a big word that people are talking about this weekend. We want to see progress. We don't want to get stuck in the status quo. What type of progress are you seeing, and what makes you hopeful for where we can go from here?
That's a great question. I think, progress takes a lot of different forms. There's no doubt. I mean, there's progress when you finally get your cousin who's been living in the land of cray-cray for a while to understand, appreciate that, using a 5-year-old child as bait for his parents is not the American way, right? So that's progress if you get them to move off of a certain way of looking at things or thinking about things. So progress will take a lot of different shapes and forms. There's organizational progress, as we see with efforts like Principals First, where you're able to bring people together in a large event and spend time sharing ideas, hearing different people from around the country, leaders, currently and former leaders in politics. All of that is a way of sort of, again, institutionalizing that progress, if you will. But the thing that really is important to me is the progress we make on an individual basis. As I reach out to you as my neighbor or someone in the community, as I invite you to be a part of an effort, that progress is largely unseen a lot of times. It's not talked about as some other things are, but it is important nonetheless. And so my encouragement has been for folks to use the power they already have, the power of their voice, the power of their mind, the power of their ideas, to reflect back to their community this sense of togetherness and moving together. And you're not alone. You're not by yourself. There's a network, there's a community of folks out there who are doing the same thing. They're just not doing it in your backyard. They're doing it in theirs. So that for me feeds this idea that there is a movement towards moving us off of Trumpism. It is not forever. Trust me, folks, it is not forever. And the reason it won't be forever is because of the progress we make every day with our neighbors, our friends, our families, and our communities.
What keeps you coming back to Principals First year after year?
I think the fact that Heath has me pretty much like this. I love the idea. I love the concept. I love the effort. I love meeting people from around the country. It is good to hear their voices and to remind me of what this is all about, why this is important. I never lose sight of that, and I want to be there for them. And this is a great gathering place. Just come in, you refresh at the beginning of the year for particularly a year like this, which is going to be very, very fraught. It already has been. We just watched the president condemn our Supreme Court because he didn't like its decision when they upheld the Constitution. We saw him then act with impunity to just impose more tariffs because, well, I'm Donald Trump and I can. So we know there are going to be difficulties down the road. This moment allows us to refresh ourselves, to reconnect, and to go out back into our states and our communities to spread the word, to do the work. It's not just, a nice little meeting here in National Harbor. It's a gathering place for reflection and refreshment and sort of getting that energy ready for what will be important elections this November. What will be important moments like the No Kings rallies that'll be taking place in March, finding those places where we can take what we learn and what we know from Principles First and push them out into the community in other ways, in other forms. That's what it's all about.
All right, Michael Steele, thank you for being with us and thanks for putting your principles first.
Thank you. Appreciate it.